Today marks 1635th day of daily lessons, day reflections. And the next couple of days, I want to really speak about rock bottom. Such an interesting topic because not every single person will experience rock bottom. And I think that rock bottom people who really get there are people who really trying to achieve something in life. Because if you're not trying to achieve, if you're doing everything in a safety, in a comfort zone, it's very hard to reach rock bottom unless really external circumstances will push you into that. But I think that's very hard to really get into rock bottom when you really don't risk anything. But now, like when you are a person who tries, who explores, and really reaches that rock bottom, I really want to reflect like what kind of lessons you're able to gather because as I shared a couple of days ago that every single experience is a material for you to build something. And rock bottom is an experience. Rock bottom is something that's able to really elevate you if you choose to. Because now when I think about that, I was in rock bottom at the beginning of the year. So like let's say 4 months ago, I was one of the lowest times of my life, and it was financially, emotionally, mentally, physically, all the ways was just totally bottom. And it's interesting thing because majority of time when I think about when I if I used to be quite low, what I used to do, I used to push a little bit more on exercises. I used to get in an extremely good shape, and that used to elevate everything around because just build routines that really works. And now when I think about my physical health, I had injured my leg. I was not able to run. I injured my shoulder, left leg, right shoulder, and I was barely able to really exercise because I just injured. So I was not able to really get in the best shape ever because I already was injured. So I need to really find different ways how to really get back into the place where I'm supposed to be. And I think that was the best thing for me because now I focused on emotional, mental, and spiritual health. And all those three health that I really focus on really allowed me to really see things differently and then build up. And I think that that's a beautiful thing when you're able to really focus on the most important things because I think that even though that physical health is extremely important, I think that this is not the most important thing because sometimes if you feel that you are going up and going down, going up and going down, it's a thing that we push something but we still are the same. So that means that our identity stays the same, but we push with our behavior. But when circumstances happen, when the things happen in our life, and that pressure potentially could push us back into our old identity. And I think that's exactly what's happening. And today we'll share 7 small things that to be able to learn from rock bottom. And like today we'll focus on more on the simple things and every single day for the next couple of days I will focus on getting deeper and deeper what you're really supposed to learn from rock bottom because there are so many lessons insane and of course every single person will have unique lessons but we able to really start thinking what good lessons could I potentially learn from rock bottom. Number one is radical ownership changes everything. It's an interesting thing because when I was pretty low I felt like I will share what's going on in my life, and I will share with 3 people that I really thought that they are really good at things. It's interesting because they, the 3 people that I shared with, were not the best people that I shared because they were not able to really understand where I'm coming from. And it was told different people, and it was really blessing as well for me because I realized that okay, this is I need to take ownership on my own. I really fix by myself and only me could really help me out. And again, this was again choice. Who I choose because one thing is that I found that when you really want to take radical ownership, you need to take ownership of choices who you share things with as well. Because not every single person will understand your story, and that's totally fine. And I think that is the most beautiful thing when you really understand that you are your own person who really able to save you. And I think that is a beautiful thing. And to be honest, when I think about right now, because In the last couple of months, of course, I was living in quite isolation, and I learned that I really love being in solitude. And it's interesting thing because now I'm the most content I have ever been in my life. I'm the most content I've ever been. And it gives so much power. So much power just that I never had before. Because what I mean by power is that in the past, sometimes I used to be afraid maybe of embarrassment, maybe rejection. But there's fear not anymore. There is no fear anymore. Because if I'm happy and massively content by being in solitude, that means embarrassment and rejection is when you're afraid to be alone, that you want to be accepted, you want to belong. But when you are taking radical ownership and take everything in your hands, and you understand that no matter what happens, you are okay in solitude, that is a massive power. Number two lesson is your habits matter more than your intentions. Your habits matter more than your intentions. It's interesting thing that we can have like massive intentions, but when you look at like what kind of behaviors you do, and one thing that I found is beautiful thing is small habits. Small habits that really transform things. It's a beautiful thing. I didn't change overnight. Like look into 4 months, 4 months of changing, improving slowly, little by little, and now everything, finances, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, all things have improved significantly because I focused on habits that small habits that compound over time. Number three, your environment is either fuel or friction. Your environment is fuel or friction. And it's an interesting thing because one biggest thing why I went into rock bottom, it was environment. An environment that I lived in was massively draining me in all ways possible. Physically, emotionally, financially, emotionally, all the ways it was draining me, and I didn't recognize early enough to really put myself out, take myself out of it, rather than allowing to really get into the bottom. And it really is okay. I need to get out of this environment, and this was the best decision in my life to really get out of wrong environment. But at the same time, probably at some point in the future, I will understand because what was the reason behind it. Because sometimes, again, you look into the person that you used to be, and that person allowed to get into the rooms that just was not for you. Number four, discipline is self-respect in action. Discipline is self-respect in action. It's interesting because I always thought that discipline is a great thing, but I realize that discipline a lot of times comes just from self-respect. If you do not respect yourself, that means you will not eat well. If you respect yourself, what it means you will eat well, you will exercise, you will choose a better partner for yourself, you pursue bigger things because you have respect for yourself. People who do not respect themselves, at that moment, we start to really lean on bad habits. And I think that's sometimes first thing if you have bad habits, look into how much self-respect do you have. And self-respect is a lot of times built through through commitments that you make to yourself, promises that you make for yourself, keeping those promises. And that's the beauty thing. Number five, pain is data, not identity. Pain is data, is not identity. That means that you reach rock bottom, there's a lot of pain, a lot of suffering in that pain. But again, now there is a lot of data. What led me into this position? Where that pain is coming from? So that means when you look into all the mistakes that you did, now you're able to reflect and build non-negotiables that doesn't put you in that same situation in the future again. So pain is that data, not identity. Number six is simplicity beats complexity when you are rebuilding. And most time, all the time, simplicity beats complexity all the time. It's interesting because at the beginning of journey or getting out of rock bottom, at some point you can really feel that you don't understand where is right, where is left, where is up, where is down, and the only thing that you can do is something simple. And I'm hoping that what you're doing is actually working because you're not able to have capacity maybe as you used to have. So that means you have very small amount of capacity of energy and we're able to do only simple things. And that's totally fine. And I think that just knowing that and hoping that this is supposed to be positive thing. And I think that's it's a beautiful thing when you're able to look at what could I do as simple as possible right now to rebuild myself from rock bottom. The last one, number seven, from the smaller things that we discussed today, is progress requires letting go of your old self. Progress requires letting go of your old self. That means rock bottom was reached by all you. And if you want to keep doing the same things that you used to do in the past, most likely you will keep yourself in the rock bottom. Or maybe you will get out because you will change your behavior, but the identity will be the same, and it will go back in a rock bottom again sooner or later. So being able to, let's say, what parts of me do I need to let go? What parts of my life and all me led me in this situation? And it's gonna pain is data, not identity. So when we look into, but at the same time, that pain a lot of times is caused by your old identity. So that we need to let go of that old identity so we can really start changing behavior from inside out. Really not get into the rock bottom again. So today, again, I said that I want to really start reflecting on rock bottom and the lessons that you can gather from there. And tomorrow we'll go a little bit deeper, and maybe we'll share maybe 3 days in a row. We'll see how much I will reflect, but I think that's a beautiful thing. Thinking about the worst days of your life and really thinking, okay, what kind of lessons would I gather from those days in my life? Because we can learn from the best days, we can learn from the worst days, and we can learn from regular days. And I think that's the beautiful part is focusing on learning from every aspect of your life. So I hope you choose to win and see you tomorrow.